And welcome on this stage, Mike Hines.
Thank you very much. Wonderful. Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Миша, и мне очень приятно быть здесь. Но я говорю не очень хорошо по-русски, so the rest of my presentation will have to be in English today. So, thank you. If you were wondering who I am and why I'm here, yes, I've worked for some small companies. I've also worked for big companies like Microsoft and Amazon. At Amazon, I have the opportunity to come here and share with you what we've done with Amazon's new game engine, Lumberyard, so that you can look at it and evaluate whether or not it would be good for your game. Okay, so your game. I'd like you to imagine your next game is massively multiplayer. And you've got more people than you could ever imagine because you've taken a lot of the graphic load and a lot of the processing load, and you've been able to put that in the cloud so that low-end devices don't have so much stress on the processor, giving you a lot more people. But that's okay, because you can have a lot more arenas with a lot more people, and the graphics in those arenas will be smooth and amazingly good. Now, not only do you have thousands more players, you also have thousands of fans watching those players. Or actually, not watching the players, because your fans are actually going to play along with the players. For example, if you know the movie Hunger Games, sponsors can drop in parachutes of medicine or things like that. Imagine if your fans watching the players in your game can do the same thing. And imagine if you can do this with your game in a lot less time than you ever thought you could. Is it a dream? Well, no. Actually, everything I've just told you, you can do today with Lumberyard. It's a great engine. So now I want you to imagine an engine, Lumberyard, where it's so powerful that you can actually save time by not only getting your engineers to be happier and more productive, but your non-technical contributors, your game designers and your artists, the people who design the sound stage for you, can also work more efficiently so you can get more done in less time. The key components you want to add, you can add them in minutes instead of hours. And you get the source code. We'll give you the source code for free. We'll give you the whole game engine for free. And it's backed by Amazon. Okay, I understand what you're probably thinking. Mike, Amazon sells TVs and shoes and watches. Why do I care if they build a game engine? Well, I'd like to address that. One of the things you probably don't know about Amazon is that we never tried to be the most profitable company. We don't want to be the biggest company. What we desperately want to be is the Earth's most customer-centric company, which means we compete with Disney and Apple and Starwood and other companies that deliver amazing customer experiences. And that's actually been a pretty good business model for Amazon. It's helped us grow really quickly. And one of the side effects of growing really quickly with a customer focus is you end up with a huge ecosystem of tools and services that are focused on making customers happy. When you work with Amazon, making your customers happy. And I'm not just talking about AWS and Twitch. It's also the hardware, the Fire tablets, the Fire TV, and other services like Login with Amazon, Amazon Payments, Amazon App Store, and even new business models like Amazon Underground, where we'll actually pay you for every minute that every player is in your game. We'll even take your art, turn that into t-shirts and sell t-shirts for you on Amazon.com. So that's one of the benefits that you get from working with Amazon is our ecosystem, our customer-focused ecosystem, is now ready for you to use as you see fit. So the way that Amazon Game Services thinks about Amazon is we want to be Earth's most developer-centric company. And we're going to deliver that by delivering a world-class, end-to-end system for you to build the best game you possibly can. All right, that's pretty cool. So I've talked about Amazon Game Services a little bit. What is in Amazon Game Services? Well, Lumberyard is probably our anchor component, but it also includes other Amazon products and services that are optimized for use with Lumberyard. So again, you can deploy them and integrate them very quickly and very easily to your next game. Okay, we can talk about the other services later. I know you're primarily interested in Lumberyard, so let's dive right into Amazon Lumberyard. What is it? It is a free cross-platform 3D game engine designed to take advantage of Amazon Web Services, computing power and storage power in the cloud, and to help you get more fans and more people interacting with your game through services like Twitch. It's available it runs on PCs, and games that you make with Lumberyard will work on Macs and PCs. They'll work on consoles like PlayStation and Xbox. They work on mobile devices, iOS and Android. And they also work on virtual reality headsets, for example, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, PlayStation VR. Lumberyard also supports OS VR. So if a new head-mounted display is released, you can actually support the new head-mounted hardware without having to write new code. Yes. That makes me pretty happy. The way we built Lumberyard was we built it on top of CryEngine. If you guys are familiar with Crytek, you know CryEngine. We also incorporated a lot of features from Double Helix and, of course, Amazon Web Services and Twitch. And we're not done yet. We're so busy building new features and improving existing features that we've actually had to create a blog so that you can keep track of all the new stuff that we're building into Lumberyard on a weekly and monthly basis. I think I've got the URL for the blog down here in the corner. So absolutely go to that and check that out to see what we keep adding and to kind of get some clue into the roadmap and what we're working on. Now, this is the Lumberyard editor. I'm hoping it's bright enough that you can kind of see some of the components there. But it looks fairly much like a standard Crytek-based editor. Now, one of the things that I really like about the editor is it's a real-time editor, which means that I can go ahead and I can code some of the game that I'm writing, and without having to launch a build or start a compile or open a separate window, I can just click a button and start playing the game I just made. Now, one of the neat things about this is my game designer can do this too, and so can my artist. They can go ahead and submit objects into the editor. They can fine-tune that object's behavior, and then with the click of the button, they can play what they've just built. They don't have to bug your engineers. They don't have to take your developers' time. They just go ahead and play what they just built so that they're more productive and they don't interrupt productivity of your developers. This is great. Oh, speaking about getting things done in less time, we have an asynchronous asset builder, and it goes ahead and takes the assets that you've put into the editor and builds them for each platform that you support so that you don't have to have a separate process where you wait for all of these assets to build for each of your platforms. This is an example of one of our visual workflow tools, and it's this kind of tool that helps your non-engineering game production staff be a lot more efficient. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I've never said to myself, wow, I can't wait to write a new shader today. Does anyone here really look forward to writing a new shader? Yes, okay, one person. You can still write a new shader, but for the rest of us, I don't have to do that anymore. Lumberyard comes with a global illumination system that includes object-based shaders. It's an example of shading and light sourcing, I guess. So with object-based shaders, it becomes a lot easier to develop really rich indoor and outdoor scenes that respect light source traversal and camera position with relatively little work on your part as an engineer. And that's absolutely fantastic. This is a cool picture of one of our designers creating a really cool object. And you can kind of see some of the detail that he's got there in the object that he's building. And in order to see whether that detail comes through in the context of the game, normally he'd have to go bug one of your developers. I've just added the object, would you please do a build? I want to check and I want to see this actually playing in the game. Well, he doesn't need to do that. He can just add it to the world he's created and see what it looks like and see the effect of what he's done immediately without bothering your engineers. So we get amazing outdoor landscapes with lighting effects, but we can also do a great job with the characters in the game. You get actual HD real-time rendering of all of the characters in the game too. Now, I mean, I could show you a lot more pictures. I think one of the best things I could show you, though, is what we did with a small team in about 2-3 weeks of time with Lumberyard. So that's what we did with Lumberyard in a couple of weeks. And it also sounded pretty good, didn't it? That's because Lumberyard includes a license for Audiokinetic's Wise LTX sound tools. And if you're familiar with Wise LTX, you may have used it. You've seen it was used for a lot of other really high-end console games. One of my favorite features of Wise LTX, though, is that it allows your sound designer and your sound engineers to actually build a soundscape for your game with relatively small input from engineering. Again, it's how to make your sound people as productive as possible while being the smallest impact on engineering possible. It's really a wonderful way that it works. Now, I also want to show you some really cool stuff that we as engineers get to benefit from. So if you do code, maybe you've been coding a first-person shooter or a top-down shooter. Chances are you've had to figure out the logic for how a non-player character or NPC finds cover and goes and hides behind cover in a game. So you may have coded something like this. So think about the tools that you currently use. How long would it take you to code this? Okay, I don't actually expect an answer. In Lumberyard, this is how you code it. I know, seriously, I'm not kidding. That's all it takes to code it. Lumberyard gives you an AI engine And we already have all the methods you need built into this engine, so you can just describe the behavior that you want, and all of a sudden, building really logical, complicated AI into your game system becomes a matter of a handful of lines of code and not days of work. So not only can your non-engineering staff be more productive, we're going to help your engineering staff be more productive. Here's an example of some of the stuff that we've just released in the latest beta for Lumberyard. An asset builder SDK. If for any reason you don't like some feature of the asset builder that we ship with Lumberyard, go ahead and fix it or build your own. You've got the tools. We've got the ability for you to support OS VR, and you maybe saw this during the video, but we have distance-based particle effects now, so that depending on where the particles are based on the camera perspective, you really get that perspective shot because the particles are going to behave differently depending on the rules of perspective you've built in the game. That and 210 other improvements are things that you can expect when we're in this quick iteration and development phase of Lumberyard, and it only gets better. Now, one of the things that I hate as a developer is device fragmentation in the mobile space. And display fragmentation is bad in mobile, and it's bad in console, and it's hard to do. But Lumberyard, the team that built this understands that fragmentation problem. And so we've done a really good job of making sure that your frame rates across all of your display options are really smooth. We keep the frame rates consistent, and so you get really nice, consistent video with as much background work from Lumberyard as possible, so that you have very little work left over to do on that. And of course, we have the integration with Amazon Web Services, which means one, of course, you can deploy across the world. But two, if you do have a massive multiplayer game, with GameLift, it lets you set up the game template. And as more players come into the game, you can instantiate new servers that will come up, handle load, and distribute to players in minutes, not hours. So your game is very responsive to loads of players that you have coming in and playing your game. And when you do get players coming in, we'll help you collect big data on how that game is functioning. But it's not big data that you save and download 7 days later. I'm talking about big data that you can analyze in AWS real time as you collect it. And what this means is, if a player is having trouble with a boss on level 10, you don't have to wait 7 days later to find out. You can know right now. And your code can decide whether or not to kind of push them along in the right direction, or, well, you decide what you want to do if you see a player having problem at a level, because you can do this real time. And if you want to implement other cloud-based features, again, Lumberyard has made it really easy to do that in minutes, not hours. One of the ways we do this is because you can do all of the access to AWS services with scripting. There's no need to configure any additional servers on AWS. All of that is going to happen programmatically because you're using Lumberyard with AWS. And that pretty much eliminates your need to do a lot of coding for pretty common game features. What game features? Well, these game features. Hold on a sec. So again, that should really help save you a lot of time and get to market faster than you thought possible. Now, community is also really important. I don't know if you keep tabs on what Twitch is up to, but some games make up to 20% of their revenue from their Twitch stream, as opposed to, say, other sources of revenue. And it's great because now players, instead of just subscribing to a channel and you're getting subscription revenue, what you're getting is, players who are participating in the game, and developers can monetize that. So if a player, if an observer wants to participate in the game, that engagement can be monetized. And more engaged fans means they'll tell more of their friends. And not only are your fans more engaged, your players now care about the fans who are watching them. I mean, I want you guys to like my clan, so you send gifts to my clan and set traps for the other clan. And now you've got the triangle complete. It's not just developer, player, developer audience. It's now also player audience interaction. And that kind of connectivity between people, you can't spend enough on marketing to build that kind of excitement, to get that kind of word of mouth excitement. And I'm super excited that Twitch gives us the ability to deliver that. Now, of course, Amazon is going to help you make money. I love this one. So this is an actual screenshot of a game designer building Twitch chat, or building chat play into a game. Chat play is what lets you drop gifts to people who are playing the game. And notice he's not writing code. This is a guy who doesn't write code. He's a game designer, and he's building chat play with these drag and drop tools. So an entire feature of this game isn't being driven by coders, it's being driven by game designers. That's very cool. I'm very happy about that. And of course, we're going to help you make money. We have lots of different channels for that, including Merch by Amazon, where we'll sell t-shirts for you. I mean, you've got the art, right? Send the art to Amazon, we'll make t-shirts available. Even if you only sell one shirt to your mom, we'll still send you a check for selling that shirt. So no reason not to. And it's by doing this that we can connect all of the lines in the Amazon ecosystem to back you up and support your players and your customers. And with that, you get access to 304 million Amazon customers in 236 countries and territories worldwide. But again, that's just the start. We're working on all kinds of cool things. Okay, we don't actually deliver Lumberyard by drone. You can download Lumberyard, but okay, drones are cool. I just like the picture. And we've got lots of support for you. We've got you here. We have forums that can help you answer questions immediately, really good tutorials, sample projects so that you can see the best practices of implementing some of these new service integrations, and of course, AWS support. And while every developer may not qualify for some of these incentives, we do have a lot of services available for game developer shops to help make transition easy, training easy, even feature planning gets easier with Amazon Lumberyard and taking advantage of web services. So, what are the next steps I'd like you to consider? First, download Lumberyard. 2, click on the support tab, and in the bottom here, I want you to click on Contact Us and fill out the form. That tells us about who you are and your studio, and it's the first step in getting access to all of those services and conversion tools and Amazon training and AWS credits that you might be eligible for. So go ahead and sign up for that, well, just as soon as you can. And hopefully we've been able to offer something that can help make your team more productive and help you build better games. Here are some URLs that might be interesting to you. Go ahead and take a picture of that. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Maybe one question before we transition?
Think so.
Thank you, Mike. Oh, thank you, Mike, for the amazing talk. And yes, sure, we have time for a couple of questions.
Actually, I don't think we have.
We have time for a couple of questions because we need to share this amazing Pokeball. So yeah, please, yeah. Denise, please share the microphone. Yeah, don't forget to mention your name before the question.
Hello, my name is Alexei. Is it possible to use Lumberyard in gambling industry for gambling games, some casino, slot machines, etc.?
Yes, you can, actually. Lumberyard, actually, you can use Lumberyard for a lot of things. You don't have to use Amazon Web Services if you don't want to, and it's still free. You can build 3D games, you can build 2D games. It's very much like other platforms in that even though it's a 3D platform, you can use it for 2D games or other kinds of applications. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Thank you. It's for you. Oh, yeah. And one more question, yeah.
Yeah, hi, my name is Isaac. Are there plans for HTML5 output somewhere?
We may have plans for HTML5, but they didn't tell me about it before I left for this. Check our blog. There's a really good chance that someone will be talking about HTML5 support on the blog. And here's your Pokeball.
Thank you. Thank you one more time.